Go.
I was hoping it was recording that whole time. Standing here, like, how long is he gonna look at it? So today we're gonna talk about a pretty cool approach to escaping the mount. It kind of takes advantages of some of the ideas that we've talked about, right? We've talked about weight distribution. That's a big concept in this mount escape semester. Taking their weight, spreading it out, putting it in places that is inconvenient for them and convenient for us. Now, most of our escapes have involved essentially either opening their base enough for us to find our way, our legs back inside, like a hat, like an elbow escape or something, or getting them to bring their base so consolidated in to an imperfect position that I can roll them over, right? So meaning like their knees are either wide, which leaves the elbow escape open, or their knees are narrow, leaves the trap roll open. The escape we're going to work today, it's kind of really works for almost either scenario. It's just probably like a slightly lower percentage, less of a go-to than the others. Okay, so I'll go ahead and get to it. Now, I am in the mount. Same principles we always start with, at least we'll be starting to talk about what if I can't break their posture on Monday. But for today's purposes, I bridge, I knee him the tailbone, I get his hands to post. Okay. Now, let's say that I'm in this scenario where I have this person on my hips, and we're talking about that at length in a second. But man, I'm trying my elbow escape, it's just not quite firing. I'm trying my pant leg, it's just not firing. I'm trying to get this arm, he keeps bringing it back. We're kind of in this battle where I can't really initiate the chain of events that I want for my standard sort of mount escape stuff. So I'm going to have to try something a little bit out of left field. At very least, even if it doesn't work, it's going to change the situation enough for me to start facilitating other escapes. Okay, now what I want to talk about before I show the escape itself, because the escape itself is pretty super simple, is a principle. So let's actually rotate this way. Okay, we've talked a lot about bringing this person down lower on our hips, right? We talked about our basic defensive movements, okay? Now, there are two reasons why uh, this is important. One is on a defensive level, his attack options are a lot more limited once he's low on my hips. If he starts reaching in for collar chokes, it's like I can really threaten his base, which we're going to go into. That's kind of the second thing. But like I can really threaten his base, so it's going to be hard for him to really commit to this choke. Not to mention my arms are in a really good position to defend. Whereas if he gets really high and he starts funneling in, if you look at my hands, let's rotate back. When my arms are way high and he reaches in this collar, my hands, the only way, like get even higher, please. Yep. It's like my elbows are wide, so my hands can only cross to defend. You see what I'm saying? It's like I can't pinch my elbows together. If he shoots down, my elbows come together, and I can really close off that space. So the first thing is, on a defensive level, it puts me in a much better position to just protect myself. The other aspect, and now we'll go back to that side, is that the lower he is on my hips, the more power I can generate to move him around, right? If he's up high on my chest, go up high on my chest, please, and I do a huge bridge, he barely moves. In fact, John didn't really move at all there, right? Like you can see. But let's say we go back and I'll land on your ankle. If he's on my hips, it's like I can really make some big stuff happening, right? So we're going to take advantage of that in a way that I think probably this is probably the maximizing that aspect the most out of any mount escape that we can do, okay? So what I'm going to do is, in a perfect world, I get his hands to post. I can kind of do this if I don't get his hands to post, but once again, we think about our concept of weight distribution. The more weight consolidated in one location, the harder it's going to be to move him. So it's logical for us to just try to get these hands to post. What I'm going to do is grab two grips on the insides of his belt. I want to get my 4 fingers hooking over and in. So we'll spin. So and actually we'll stay here. So can I posture you up, please? So we're going like this. I can do this without a belt grip. I can just post on the hips. If I do post on the hips, my fingers want to turn outside. I want to shelf his hips on the insides of my palms. But the belt's going to be sufficient. We're going to tie John's belt. So I post his hands. The way I'm going to work this escape, I get him low on my hips, and I'm going to do two things kind of in conjunction. I'm going to bridge really hard, and at the height of the bridge, I'm going to use that space I created to post my arms out. So what it's going to look like is this. Okay? Now it's very important, let me get you back, that we understand. I'm not trying to bench press John here. I'm not going, damn it, jiu-jitsu doesn't work, right? That would be very, very difficult, unless you're really, really strong, in which case I could just bench press the fucking guy, like whatever, you know. But if you're not really, really strong, I'm finding the hip bones, I'm doing a big bridge, and I'm going to kind of collapse my hips while my arms hunch forward. It's almost like, you ever see, you know what it kind of is like, is actually, let me get you off me for a second. You guys ever been at the gym and you see that guy that like clearly doesn't know how to bench press right, but he wants that number?
He
You know what I'm
arches his
saying?
back.
So he's all like, it's not just arching his back, but he's like, like he's like using his hips smashing down to get that bar up. That's kind of what we're doing here. We're gonna lift this person like a dude lifting a bench press improperly. So I'm here, I make his hands post, right? Low on the hips, I'm doing a big bridge, and I post my arms out, right? So this is the first piece of this motion, okay? Now, we're gonna use this to get in, there's two ways we can find our way to a guard from this, or two basic ways. Theoretically, there's a bunch of different ways, but basically speaking. One is both knees are gonna come inside. So the way this is gonna work is I'm here, my knees come up. From here, I kick forward, I get it into a butterfly, okay? That motion, so invisible opponent, let me actually get that here, is almost as if I was taking off my pants, like in a weirdly quick way. So I do a big bridge, big post, and then slide over my knees, right? So if we go back to our bench press metaphor, another way to think of it is if I had that bar, let's say like I was bench pressing, I fucked up, and that bar ended up on my hips. So I had to get it off of my hips in a way that for whatever reason, instead of just tipping it, I'm going to take it over my shins. I'm going to do a big bridge, big post, and just roll it over my knees so it rolls out that way. Does that make sense, guys? So I'll do that one again. Phone's ringing. So I make his hands post. I'm here, catch the insides of the belt. I'm going to do a big bridge, big post, and bring my knees inside. Boom. Once I get here, and just for the sake of simplicity, put your weight forward, please. I'm going to kick forward and land in a butterfly. Okay, so that's number one. I'm just going to go ahead and show both of them. We'll just drill it all out together instead of spending a whole nother technique showing the other way in. Alternatively, I might find it hard to get both knees in all the time. I might not get enough space. So an alternative option I have is I can go to the single leg X guard, which for the basis of this class, since this is mostly fundamental stuff, we're not going to get too deep into my options from there, but on a very simplistic level, I can use it to create space. So I'm here, I made a post, and what I'm going to do is I bridge, I post, and I'm just going to bring one knee in. So I bridge, post, one knee in, and I rotate towards the opposite side. Once I get there, my foot goes on the hip, and I'm extending away to get to the single leg X position. I mean, if I want, I have leg lock attacks, I have all sorts of different stuff, but on a basic level, I've now recalibrated the situation where I'm in a guard. So, Jeremy, come here. Run them out. So once again, it's like, if I try to, actually no, let's still demonstrate that real fast. Let's say you're up high. If he's up high like this and I try to do this, it's like I can create a little bit of momentum, but even, let's say your hands are even on the mat, right? It's like even that, it's like, I just don't have this pop I need. So I need him low on my hips, make his hands post, catch the belt, and then I'm doing a big bridge and a post. You see that? So we'll go back. So my first option is when I big bridge and post him, I'm going to kind of drift him forward as if I'm trying to take my pants off. So I'm here, my knees come in, kick forward, and I get my butterfly guard. That's one. Two, I'm going to drift him forward and kind of at an angle. So drift him towards the side, the knee's coming in, right? So if I'm bringing my left knee in, I'm drifting him towards the left. So again, big bridge and post, knee comes in, other foot goes over, and I'm going to extend away to get to my single leg X. Does that make sense, guys? You guys have any questions about that? Yeah? All right, let's go and work it out. 1, 2, 3.